I will be in the studio in Nagar, I'll be in the studio in 1 second, 1 second. I'm just preparing myself.
No problem, no problem.
Because we are
I also want to change my angle quickly.
okay.
You let me know. You let me know. Okay. As far as we go, we are live. As far as we go, we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paseta Forum. We have Sister Sue, we have King Said So. They will be joining us just shortly. They'll be joining us just shortly. Bear with us a little bit. I will keep this main camera in the meantime whilst I'm making sure that everyone is joining me. I'll keep this main camera in the meantime. Sister Sue, you'll tell me. Okay, I see you again. You'll tell me once you are in. I can see you, Sister Sue. We'll be waiting for King. And so what? Right now, whilst we're waiting for King, it is only myself on the screen. If you have another device to view on Paseta YouTube, you'll be able to see exactly what is happening. I'm talking to you, Sister Sue, because I can definitely see you. Please don't be alarmed by what might seem like a bit of a delay, because of course it will not be in exact real time. But just let me know if you can hear everything properly so that we can carry on. You are more than welcome to speak to me on WhatsApp if it seems, because I think you are speaking now. And okay, I see King is in. Well, I need to, okay, let's see and switch King's camera. Let's do that. And let's do King. And let us, okay, even in the screen I can see you, Sister Sue. Can you, but I cannot hear you. Can you hear me? Sister Sue? Let me bring you back up, bring your sound. Can you hear me? King, I can't hear you now. Can you hear me? Okay, I can see Sister Sue as well. I can see King, the both of you. But able to hear. Okay, I have your volume up.
Yes, I can
Can you hear me now?
Ah, yes, I can hear you. I can hear both of you. Thank you so much. I can hear both of you. All right, so I'm gonna go to the screen where it's all three of us, and I'll make sure that we have King as well. Okay. I can hear you. I can hear. In fact, it says that your network is strong. So
Perfect. Thank you.
yes, I can definitely hear you. Can definitely hear. Okay. King, can you hear us?
can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. I think we are all here. I can hear the both of you. Sister Sue, I can hear you too, but I think your video is off. No trouble about that. And what I'm doing on the side as well, I am checking our live on a different machine to see that we are seeing exactly what we are hoping to see. And I believe with that being done, we are at a point now where we are able to officially start, because we have technically done our sound check, and we have sorted out our videos as well. Aha, aha. Thank you. Please let me know if on your sides you're able to view the live and all is going well, because I am able to see all three of us, and I'm able to see the both of you guys. If we are ready to start with our discussion for today, I would like to welcome our president of Paseta, Hosi Zinjiva, Kerayana King said so. I'd like to welcome Sister Sue, a member of our media and marketing team. Nakalibitso, Kimateadi, Rabio Gaserumula Samolo, Kota Malalaiso. Thank you so much for joining us on our first Paseta Forum. What I'd like to do, I do have a few videos ready, very very short videos. They're going to be in line with the topics of discussion that we are talking about. Literally very short, just to give a bit of context. Because what we are going to be talking about today, we do have a bit of an agenda. And do you recall, Sister Sue, some of the things that we are going to be talking about? Because I do have it in front of me here.
Yes, I've also got it in front of me, my brother. Our first point that we are touching on is women and the soil. So we'll be talking about the past, present, the future, exploring how women have always been the custodians of African agriculture, from seed saving and farming to leading innovations today and into the future.
Peace in heaven, African and all my African brothers and sisters. Let me just take this opportunity to thank each and everyone that is here on the forum. I am really blessed today to be also part of the forum. That is an initiative by the Paseta Media team, headed obviously by our sister Sue and our BT Rabi. My task is very simple today.
I'll take my vacations. That doesn't force them to relinquish comfort. It goes back down to hubb dunya. You love the world.
The rainy season has delayed, but Beatrice Mwangi's farm in Gilgil, a town 2 hours from Kenya's capital city, is thriving. The secret, she says, lies in part in the community seed bank tucked away in her farm. For 6 years, Beatrice and other local farmers have been saving and exchanging resilient seeds to plant in their farms. It was their solution to the rising cost of farm inputs.
The rainy season would begin, but before we could find the money to buy seeds to plant, the rains would be over. And without crops, we would worry about how we were going to face hunger.
That's when the Seed Savers Network Kenya came in. The organization's office in Gilgil houses a more developed version of the community seed bank. Behind the sealed containers, they say, is a mission to encourage agricultural biodiversity.
So we did a survey in the community and we found communities are losing local foods at very alarming rates. They used to eat certain foods their grandmother used to make or their mother, but right now they can't trace them.
So they reached out to farmers across Kenya. Over 400,000 farmers in groups across the country have been trained to put aside a portion of their best seeds after harvest for testing and storage. When the planting season begins, they return to ask for their desired varieties. The seeds stored here are unique varieties that might have otherwise been lost. Now preserved, they represent community efforts to ensure preservation of biodiversity and food security for future generations.
We give farmers our seeds and they plant them. When they harvest, they come back to return some seeds to us. So we are doing something called multiplication. And this helps to increase the number of seeds that are about to be lost.
It has also boosted nutrition. Scientists say indigenous seeds are more resilient against pests, diseases and extreme weather conditions. Kenyan laws, however, prohibit the sale of indigenous seeds. But experts encourage the practice of seed sharing, saying it puts the power back in the hands of the public.
Are we food sovereign? Are we dependent on external people for having our food security? So that means statistically right now we are importing a lot of our seeds, which means we are not sovereign.
The Gilgil Seed Bank can store seeds for up to 30 years. On the eve of International Women's Day, the farmers of Belacom Group gathered in Gilgil town, sharing lessons with the public. They sought to share their produce and knowledge to help their community prepare for the rainy days that hover just over the horizon. Wilkis Anyabwa, CGTN, Gilgil, Kenya.
I see. I see. I see. Ki- Okay. 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 Can you hear me speaking now? Yes. Yes. On the live. Can you hear me speaking now? Okay. 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 No, no, no. But I'm glad that you're able to see and hear the video as well. And I would also like to. I would also like to acknowledge. I'd also like to acknowledge some of the people who are speaking to us on YouTube on our live. We have Hazel was saying that we can't hear you, Rabi. Please type again, Hazel, if you can hear me now. Please tell me if you can hear me now. Even Tabiso was saying there was no sound. Of course, there's no timestamp. I can't say how long ago that is, but I am looking at your comments there on our on the Paseta YouTube channel. Hello, Ntejane says yes. Is that you saying that you can't hear me, or are you saying, but King, we can't? Well, I can't. I'm just trying to make sure we are here in the Paseta home learning from our Kenyan women, okay? That's someone who has seen that previous video. I'm going down. Oh, all good now. Thank you so much, Happy Hazel Spiritual Corner. Thank you so much. So long as everyone can hear us and you can hear the videos that we are playing, everything is going as far as we have hoped that it would. And we'd like to thank every one of you guys for joining us on Paseta YouTube. This is our first Paseta Forum. The idea is to have a monthly discussion, and we would also like to invite you guys to Male says now no sound, but everyone was saying sound all good now. I'll wait for another comment to confirm if anything is changed, because as you can see my hands, I have not pressed anything at all, so there should still be sound. So, but we'd like to thank all of you guys for joining us on the first Paseta Forum. It is the first. As you can see, there's minor teething problems here and there, but rest assured that moving forward, because we plan on having this as a monthly forum where we discuss issues, really where we share ideas for a self-reliant black child, for a self-reliant African child. And we are going to be having such forums on a monthly basis, and we would really appreciate if you can join us in the coming ones as well, and we appreciate you for joining us here. So we are going to just have this discussion a little bit about women and the soil. I'm going to ask Sister Sue to help us out a little bit. We've seen a little bit of the context of what we are talking about. Women were seed savers, you know what I mean? That important aspect when it comes to food security that women have traditionally played in Africa. This is what women and the soil really is what we are talking about. Sister Sue, if you are up there for us and you are ready, do let us know, and we will. Thank you so much. Welcome back. Thank you so much. Tell me, Sister Sue, do you think the important role that women have been playing in putting food on African tables since the inception of time is underrated? Do we not view it with the importance that we need to before we actually discuss what we want to get to the bottom of?
I don't think it's even an issue of us not viewing it as something that is important, but it is rather the fact that the role has been taken away from women. So it is no longer a role that they are actually in charge of the way that it used to be in the olden days. And seeds and agriculture and feeding the home, those roles are no longer women roles. And because of that, think everyone has kind of rather forgotten that this was actually a role that women were leading and handling, and that's how it was initially.
I see. I see. So it's really a thing of um, we just moved with the unfortunate times, and our roles morphed because when time changes, things change. We cannot forget colonization. It played a very big part in it played a very big part in in how our even family structures, even how our family structures themselves are aligned. You know what I mean? It played an important part in that aspect. So would you say that in a way that we are losing sort of hold of how the woman's role with the soil in terms of putting food on top of African tables, how it has changed. You know what I mean? Because we don't have those situations where women are seed savers and so forth. We view them not necessarily in that role of manager of the household nutrition.
That is very true, my brother. And I think also because roles have changed for everyone, we kind of all find ourselves in a position where we're trying to figure out where everyone is supposed to fit in because the system that we're using is not ours. So we all just struggling to balance things. And I think not only is the seed thing just affecting food, but it also affects how we behave because seeds are not just seeds that plant food that give us nutrition, but it also symbolizes a lot. And having our women connected to the earth is a very important thing for us as African people. And I think by taking away that connection, a lot got stripped from us that then affects our everyday lives in ways that we sometimes are not even able to point out that it is because we've got this disconnection that we now struggle with so many things. There's so much dis-ease within us as a people because of the loss of those basics, And I don't know if currently, because of how patriarchy is taken over for our men, if it is something that we will be able to reverse and go back to soon enough. But it is something that does impact both the males and the females. And the power that has been stripped away from having women not plant means they are no longer sustaining themselves. They're no longer going to the market and trading. They no longer have that type of control. And that trickles down to a lot of things.
me that you cannot hear, I would appreciate that, because I didn't touch much. But I want us to gradually move on. But I want us to move on while we are all happy with this first aspect. If you feel that we have spoken of it enough, even there in the comment section, I'm looking at you, Brian. I'm looking at you, Male, Hawel, everyone else that is with us in the comment section. Give us your opinion there, so that we can take something from what you are saying and see if we can't expand on it a little bit. We do have an agenda of the things that we are going to be discussing, but we'd like to give you an opportunity as well to be a part of the forum as soon as you're able to hear us, because I see how was saying that I'm muted. I'd like to disagree. I'd like to disagree, because everyone else would be saying that I am muted. You know what I mean? Sister Sue, welcome back. Brian is saying something is up with the sound. Tell me if it is too low, if it is you cannot hear, and so forth. Please let me know of that, and then we'll fix it on our side. We are right here to do all of those things. So, Sister Sue, we were still really talking about the marginalized view of women and the soil, of women and putting food on African tables. You know what I mean? And what I want us to touch on before we go to GMOs, because we also said we want to be talking about GMOs. I know you are quite particular, with seeds and so forth. So what I just want to ask, I want to ask about empowering women with access to land, technology, and training. Could this yield significant, or rather, could this help in reducing significant hunger? Is this something that should be given to the custodians? Type of use the right tool for the job type of thing. What's your opinion on that, Sister Sue?
Sure. I hope my sound is audible, but we'll check in the comments to see where the problem is.
Okay.
In terms of what you're asking, Brother Rabi, if they had to say next week women are getting land so that they can farm for themselves, sure. It's a bit of a tricky one at the moment, because as you previously mentioned, most of the good land in our country has been confiscated, allocated, is being occupied by other people. Hence, we had the Land Area Acts and all of that. It was to get the good land. Like, I'll give you an example. You find areas in the rurals where our people do actually have their own plots of land, but the catch will be that they have no access to water, and that the land is actually not land that they can plant in. It's almost like dead land that would need a lot of work and a lot of education for you to actually be able to yield something out of it, which is why I always thought it was weird when you go to the rurals and you'll find that they've got relatively huge yards compared to what we have this side, Goma locations, Kokasi, and I'd always think, why don't they plant? But it's because they either don't have water or the land is actually barren. So that's what I'm saying, that it's a tricky one to say, do we just then wake up tomorrow and say, okay, women can have land? And if we do that, what happens to the men? Because we are then further leaving our men behind when there's already such a huge gap. And I think that's also the reason most of the men are so angry as well, because women keep getting empowered, but the men are getting left behind. And we need to have a balance. That's the only way that it's going to work. So until we've sat down and figured out what way we will, sorry, I'm getting distracted. But until we've sat down and actually discussed how we are going to move forward in terms of getting it back, I don't think just getting land, because imagine you get the land, but you're not able to produce on it. That will be devastating.
I see. I see. So let's look at what Paseta is trying to do. We are looking at future generations. They're going to be young, and we are not going to be choosing male, female. We are looking at the future leaders of Africa. What is it that they need? They need to 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 sort of know, or what is it that they need to be aware of in order for them, I'm talking about Paseta learners here, in order for them to fulfill their roles as the custodians of our future in terms of agriculture. I just want to also mention to everyone in the comment section that I will just remind you that August is agriculture month at Paseta, but it does not stop. You know what I mean? It does not stop. What that means is that you will still see videos of our team giving you feedback on the process of their gardens and so forth. So agriculture does not stop. So this is why you might think that we have mentioned that in September we are observing heritage and African awareness, because it is the African New Year. You might be just thinking that is agriculture all that we speak of. No, it's one of the many things that we speak of. Remember, the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology, agriculture, right? So we are not going to exclude everything else, but what we want to know is, when it comes to food security, what is it that future leaders of Africa who are Paseta learners, what is it that they need to be aware of, that we can say, for example, that right now it's lacking? It's part of what we are trying to help the next African to have it click in their mind. What is that X factor?
Oh, there are a few, but I think one of the smallest and easiest one, I think that we can always teach and impart on the children of Paseta, is that you actually don't need acres and hectares of land to plant.
Ah,
You can start with something small, just a basic thing like tomatoes. That's something that I think every household buys every month. You can plant your own tomatoes. And um, basic things like actually learning. I don't know if now with our weather that is controlled, if we can still learn climate in terms of geography and how that relates to what you are planting,
I
because
see.
now there's tricks in terms of the weather. But also understanding the basic effect. I think our people understood knowledge that we perhaps have sometimes taken for granted. Um, Things like plants do actually listen to you, and it makes you sound like a hippie when you say it, but it's the
Yes.
truth. And it's something that our people had over other people. They could actually talk to their crops. That's why they would, when the woman would be selecting seeds at the end of the harvest, they knew which seeds they would keep for the following harvest. They knew which seeds would get cooked as part of meals. They knew which seeds would be stored for medicational purposes. All those different knowledge systems need to be incorporated back into the current learning. So, as much as we are running to new technology in terms of agriculture, there are valuable sources and things that were done back then that we can still apply today, because it's still the same land.
Yes.
So we are still the owners of that land. That land still responds to us. And that's why even the people that own the farms make us work on the farm, because they know the land responds to us.
This is it. This is it. You know what? I'm gonna play a short clip before we jump into the GMO part of our agenda. Before I do that, I just want to acknowledge the president of Paseta Namibia, Dina, and she's saying that as Paseta, we believe the X factor in food security is knowledge and ownership. She says future learners must understand how to grow, protect, and sustain their own food systems. Right. And this is why she's the president, right? Linking traditional African wisdom with modern techniques. Food is not just survival, it's sovereignty. With those words, I would like to quickly play for us before we go to our discussion about GMOs, because we were talking about technology, and one would say that GMOs do fall under what we can refer to as technology. This one it is a sad truth. You're able to get seeds that will not, like we can say, one plant seed, if this makes sense. What this means is that there are seeds that once it is planted and it grows whatever crop that it is designed to grow, you can't reuse it. There's just so much, and I'm sure Sister Sue, you would be familiar with some aspects. They differ, these GMOs and so forth, they differ. And one of the main things that we obviously are against them for is because of the bodies that they have in them, the materials that they have in them. It's not necessarily good. You get these ripe looking tomatoes, and then when you cut them and you taste them, you can tell that this one, it looks juicy, but So those are some of the things that when we're talking about GMOs, it can expand to. So I'd like to...
Is in the young ones. Chinua Achebe was right.
Where they don't speak.
Just give me 1 second. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to set up this video quickly, and we're going to watch it together. Okay, but just give me 1 second, and here we go.
African farmers have been breeding healthy food crops naturally for countless generations. GMO plants are genetically engineered in ways that cannot occur naturally. Their genetic makeup is altered in laboratories. GMOs in Africa have been an expensive and disastrous failure. In South Africa, 90% of maize, the staple food, is genetically engineered. Despite promises that GMOs will feed Africa's growing population, after 20 years of GM maize consumption, 46% of South African households are still hungry. Despite the promises of increased incomes to small-scale farmers, GM cotton was abandoned in Burkina Faso after markets rejected the low-quality GM cotton fiber. Up to 2 million farmers lost their livelihoods and were left poorer, more vulnerable, and disempowered. But the failure to make good the promises has not reduced the pressure to take corporate control of African seed markets. Crops targeted for genetic modification include maize, cowpeas, bananas, cotton, soya, potato, and cassava. Once genetically modified, the seed companies secure the intellectual property rights to sell the new varieties. Independent scientists are raising evidence-based concerns about human health impacts of GMOs. From weakened immune systems to liver damage and cancers, GMOs mean higher costs of production, loss of seed diversity, and serious health risks. GMOs bring food safety risks, less choice, and less nutritional value. GMOs destroy biodiversity, damage soils, and weaken resilience to climate change. Africa needs a total ban on the introduction of new biotechnologies until their safety can be assured and effective regulations are put in place. Agroecology is the future of African farming. It's diverse, like nature. It's productive, increasing yields of healthy food crops. It's resilient to climate change and puts carbon back in the ground. It's efficient, less inputs, less waste. Say no to their failed solutions. It's time to shake off the neo-colonial influence and build a healthy, resilient, and sustainable food system for Africa.
So this is really a little bit of how, or rather what impact does the GMOs have, not only on the soil, as you have heard that it destroys biodiversity and the soil. Really, the seeds themselves, if they work to grow only once, they do not pollinate again and so forth. So you can understand it's not something that you really want in your body. I would like to think that many of us have come across videos where you see bread that you crumb it up. Once you've crumbed up that slice of bread and you leave it, it unfolds and it goes back to normal slice shape. You understand? There's been watermelons that are rubbery, and so really when we're talking about GMOs, we are saying that it expands. There's also lab-made foods. So I'd like to believe that they fall under the category of genetically modified because they have been changed, you understand? And in some instances they do not contain, let's take meat for example. They can 3D print a steak. You can understand that it might have the taste, it might have the look, but the nutritional value is something else. You know what I mean? So when we are talking about GMOs, Sister Sue, when we're talking about these seeds of control, what is it that we would like? What is it that we would like children of Paseta to know about these GMO seeds?
Brother Rabi, these GMO seeds are actually, from the little research that I've done, are actually very dangerous for our soil, because not only does the seed have a set lifespan. So say you plant the pepper and it grows and you get your peppers and you harvest. That plant then dies after that. So it's not going to give you another harvest. But not only that, when it flowers and its pollen gets spread, it actually infects the other seeds that are organic and turns them into GMOs as well.
Wow.
Yeah, that's scary. And it also affects the soil. So once you've planted a seed that is a GMO seed in your soil is actually tampered with. You can no longer plant a normal seed in that soil. And that is the reason we are now having this thing with the seeds, which is not being spoken about on mainstream television and all the other channels. But seeds are going to be a very expensive thing to have, organic seeds. And the trick with it is I could have organic seeds, but if my neighbor has got GMO seeds, she's going to infect my seeds when the pollination happens. So it's almost like you are bringing in the seed that is going to kill other seeds and then force us to now eat this food, which is not real food. I remember how excited everyone got when they introduced the seedless grapes, you know? That was a fancy thing, getting seedless grapes. But now you kind of look into it and you realize these people are actually tampering with food, and the food is affecting our bodies. Look at how many people suddenly suffer from sinusitis. Everyone sounds like little elephants. Everywhere you go, you're just hearing kom, 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 you know? And it's because of the food. It's because of the food.
Wow.
All of a sudden, we all obese, we all have cancer, we all have all these illnesses that were not illnesses that we knew as African illnesses. And people used to think it was weird when you'd come up with this new illness and everyone would go, Africans don't suffer from that. Like now, everyone's grandmother has dementia. So, and you link that to the food. Oh, those were exciting. Mm, mm,
Ruin the soil for the rest of the other crops, it is a bit of a problem, you know. So we are really dealing with lost knowledge. So there are things that we need to teach the children of Paseta in order for us to trigger that spark inside of them so that they can have the awareness required, you know. And I do believe that this is actually one of the most important things, especially when it comes to the agricultural sector. I just want to quickly go to our comment section quickly, see if we have something new. We hear, let's see, Vic says, please also unpack archaeological and anthropological educational framework. What is Paseta's proposal with this regard? Vic, that is a brilliant question. That is a brilliant question. And what I would like to say, or what I'd like to do rather, is I'd like to put that up on for our next discussion. I say this because it is essentially a a topic on the opposite spectrum of how we have curated today's discussion. We are following a guideline of from the soil to the table, but the road from the soil to the table can be marred with your GMOs. From the soil to the table, who takes it there? It is the women. Hence, we started with women and so forth. So we do have a structure that we are following. But what Vic is asking here is something quite important. This can definitely be something that we would like to unpack, and so that everyone is in par and we know what we are talking about. And it'll definitely be when we are talking about anthropological and archaeological, they can in a way be connected to our history studies. I say this why, because we would want to put a timeline to when shifts happened. We want to put a timeline to that. We want to say that our people have been, for example, farming or mining for thousands of years, and it is based on this evidence that we have, and so forth. It would not derail us from the main discussion, but it would give us a subtopic. I hope you understand what I'm saying, Vic, and I do hope that when we do break it down, you will be here with us. And underneath Vic's comment, we have Dina, the president of Paseta Namibia, who was saying that I think planting kitchen scraps doesn't automatically mean they are genetically modified. GMOs are specially altered in labs, while kitchen scraps simply regrow what you already bought. I will give Sister Sue a chance to just quickly comment on that before we move on to the next topic of our discussion. But I'll conclude quickly what our president of Paseta Namibia, Dina, is saying below that. She says the key is knowing your source. If the original food was organic, the regrowth will also be natural. I can quickly touch on that one myself. I've been delaying with making this video. I bought avocados from Mkozi at the corner, and I do have a few of them that are in jars. So what I'm telling you this for is in line with what the president of Paseta Namibia, Dina, is saying, that if you know the source is organic, then you can regrow. So what that means is that for me to be sure that these avocados are organic, I have replanted them and they have started shooting. We'll do a video for that. It will go on to Paseta's Grow Your Gardens. And before we move on to the next topic of discussion, I'd just like to give you, Sister Sue, that option to touch on a little bit on what President of Paseta Namibia, Dina, is saying about planting kitchen scraps. What's your take on that, first?
Okay, well, planting kitchen scraps is obviously the most convenient and easiest way to begin planting, because that's something that you've already got in your household and it's left over. So you can quickly either take the seeds and plant them like you did with your avo. But the trick is the fact that we are not certain if we are being told the truth about where our food comes from, because we don't always have information as readily available as we think we do. And sometimes you buy meat, for example, at your big shops, retails that we get meat from, and it'll just say beef. But what if it's synthetic beef? You don't know that. So the same with our fruits and vegetables. You could buy them, and the only way you'd realize that something is funky here is when you eat it and then you realize, why is the texture of this banana wrong, or why is this watermelon like this? But that information is not readily available. Like now with that chicken that they're going to be bringing over the side, everyone assumes that you'll see it in the shelves and it'll say US chicken or something along those lines, but it won't. It'll probably be the chicken that you buy from the fast food chains. So what I'm trying to say is you don't really know, and that's how it's been set up, because they are trying to get rid of the organic seeds so that we can rely on only what we have access to in terms of eating. Because the whole concept of buying food as an African is very weird if you actually think about it.
Wow. Obviously, when we look at capital, we understand that it would make sense, given how they operate, it would make sense for us to be even more reliant on them. Because another thing that's important that you mentioned in regards to us being completely reliant on them for food production is that if the GMO seeds they just mess up the soil and they mess up your neighbor's crops. What that means is that that's really colonization. Think about it.
Yeah.
It means the GMO seeds are colonizing the land, they're colonizing the soil, and now what can be referred to as neo-colonialism, or the effects of such colonialism, will be felt by the neighbors' crops, because they will automatically, because the soil is ruined, they will not get the nutrients, they will die, and we will just have one. It will be so sad to get to that point, but I believe that the children of Paseta will not let that happen. It will be so sad to get to a point where you have to buy one seed and it can only work once. And when you are planting, say, tomatoes or whatever it is that you're planting, and you put in a lot of seeds, you understand, put in a lot of seeds in a line so that you can grow your tomatoes in that line. Now, if you have to buy 5 seeds, because obviously if we are in a point where we have to now be buying these GMO seeds, because for some reason the Paseta children are not going to let that happen, but for some reason we have found ourselves even more colonized, and we are now even more dependent on the West, and we need to spend billions in buying just GMO seeds that can only grow just once, one harvest. After that, we have to go back to them and get other seeds. It is colonization that the children of Paseta are not going to allow. They are going to learn how to be one with the soil, like how to be one with nature. Because creating your own food or growing your own food is something that falls in what we can refer to as lost knowledge. Children nowadays, they feel like bread comes from the store. Not that wheat is grown, wheat is ground, it is made into dough, there's flour, no. And also that flour is a plant as well. Bread comes from a store. So I think one of the other most important things that we're going to impart onto Paseta children is that everything has a paper trail. It is not just a car because it came here. Those doors were imported from the US. That engine comes from Germany, and so forth and so forth. We need to teach them young to connect the dots so that they are the ones who would be able to say to us, but why is it that Africa is buying chickens in such large quantities from and maize and stuff from your South America and so forth? Have our chickens forgotten how to lay eggs? No, they have not. You understand? We want them at a very young age to be asking such questions, and this is part of the awareness that we are bringing in. Vic, I just want to acknowledge your comment again, because the anthropological and the archaeological, they are going through my mind now, trying to think as to what type of information to impart on them and so forth, and the educational framework. But like I've said, that it will have a special moment that we can dedicate to it, possibly in the next Paseta Forum. Remember, we have this every single month, and this month we are in the cross between Agriculture Month at Paseta. August is Agriculture Month because that is the best times for you to prepare your soil. You know when September comes, everything's starting to bloom, and this would be a great time for you to actually, it would be a great time for you to have started with your planting. If you've seen Sister Sue and her garden, you will understand what I'm saying. You'll understand what I'm saying. Sister Sue, I'd like us to go to the next topic of discussion. I would hate for us to take everyone's time so much longer. But before we go there, I would like to see if I have a video ready here where it's going to take us to our discussion about creating our own food. Let me do this quickly. I will let you know once I'm ready with that. Just give me 1 second. I do have everything ready.
No problem.
Just in case. 1 1 second for that, and we are here. We don't have anything fresh in the comment section. We do not
No, not yet.
we don't have anything fresh there. That's okay. So what I'm gonna try to do here, I really want to play this short clip. It was one of those, just one of those that that talks about the traditional approach to Africa's food systems, and it's a short clip too. So please do indulge me, and I will have it ready for you in a split second. I have it here. Let's do this. And okay, because I'm playing it like live on.
Greetings to you, our audience. So my name is Bethany Rera. I'm working with Participatory Ecological Land Use Management, PELAM Zimbabwe. PELAM Zimbabwe is implementing, is coordinating My Food is African campaign. The campaign is a continental activity that is being implemented in 13 countries, and Zimbabwe is one of the countries. It's being implemented under the auspices of Alliance for Food Sovereignty in Africa, that is AFSA. PELAM Zimbabwe is a membership organization with members around Zimbabwe, which are mainly focusing on greening Africa. My Food is African campaign is mainly focusing on bringing awareness on the value of traditional foods. And it's mainly looking at actually having concrete change in practice in terms of people in Zimbabwe consuming traditional foods. So today in this episode, I'm joined by Mr. Nelson Mzingwa. I will let Mr. Mzingwa introduce himself.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Nelson Mzingwa. I'm a smallholder farmer based in Masvingo province. I'm one of the co-founders of the Shasha Agroecology School. I'm the national coordinator for the Zimbabwe Smallholder Organic Farmers Forum. In short, that is ZIMSOF. And as ZIMSOF, we are farmers who are right on the ground, who are actually practicing on the ground, producing local food in many ways that are quite specific to the regions that we're coming from. And one of those foods that we very much concentrate on are those seeds that produce quite nutritious food we eat every day within our homes. So we are organized in what we call smallholder farmers organizations that are in the 4 regional clusters, and that builds up our organization as a national organization with a membership of plus or minus 12,000 smallholder farmers.
Okay, so Mr. Mzingwa, you've indicated that you're a farmer. In this episode, would want to talk about indigenous knowledge, culture, and the spiritual dimension as it relates to our food systems. Can you just explain to us your understanding of what we mean by this?
Yeah, many years ago, people started testing a lot as far as food is concerned. It was not about try and error, and much of it was almost like more, it was inspiration. One could dream about the type of a food that was supposed to be eaten. If it was try and error, otherwise many of us were going to eat lots of poisons. But inspiration that was coming from the spiritual world, it was actually contributing to the identification of the different food crops that people started to propagate, and testing and seeing how they actually grow in the different regions. And these crops were quite connected to their practices in as far as food production is concerned, and at the same time, in as far as appeasing their spiritual world is concerned. I will give an example of the foods that they were producing, which actually, like for example, finger millet, which was very much connected to their traditional beers that that was brewed when people were performing rituals and ceremonies in their different areas, especially under the different sacred places. They could have these food crops being grown to celebrate and at the same time to appease the spirit. And there's a lot to do again with nutrition, the nutrition that is contained within the food crops that were actually inherited from the past, which was also of value to our bodies, because it is our spirit within our bodies that feels hungry, and it is a choice of the food crops that it is supposed to be eating. And for keeping that body, which keeps that spirit to function, there's a lot of nutrition that is required. And much of that nutrition is actually got from our local traditional food, which are very much connected to our spirituality and cosmovision.
Okay.
Thank you for that. I just wanted us to have a little bit of context in terms of healing with the soil, in terms of healing with the soil, and really us now being, I'll use South Africa as an example, us now being at the mercy of the Afrikaner farmers, you understand, as it is portrayed. It is not necessarily the case, but as it is portrayed, really, it's not only a consequence of colonialism in that aspect of us, being moved away from all the land that is rich for planting and so forth. It's really also a reminder. It's really also a reminder that we have to really know ourselves in order for us to be connected with the ground. You know what I mean? In order for us to be connected with the soil. I did hear King say that he prefers to, and I suggest that everyone does whenever you garden yourself, to be barefooted, so that you can connect with the soil. Part of things that you need to acknowledge when it comes to self. When we are saying that you are conscious of your own existence, you know what I mean? Those are some of the things that are quite helpful for you as an individual to partake in whenever you do your gardening. Tell us, Sister Sue, when you are doing your gardening, do you typically like to be barefooted, or it just so happens if you are wearing the paca, that's what you're wearing and that's what you're gonna do? Let's talk about our connection to the soil.
Sorry, let me just close my window for the dogs.
Okay.
Just give me 1 moment, please.
All right, no trouble. Okay. While Sister Sue closes her windows for her dogs, she's got some bulls, and I think she's just trying to keep them at bay right now. I just want to let you know. That we are almost done with the topics that we have on discussion here. Whilst we wait for Sister Sue, I see she's back. I'll just acknowledge quickly. Brian M says, how are parents going to have to adjust in order to keep up with the Paseta future leaders? Sister Sue, how are parents going to have to adjust in order to keep up with the Paseta future leaders? What are some of the things that we will have to be doing differently as parents?
Parents will need to get more involved. I think we have a situation where most of our parents are not really involved in what kids are doing at school, because school has almost become a thing where you send the child away so you can get to work, and you're really not sure what they are doing, what they are up to until they come back after school, and you're not really sure what's happening. You don't understand their homework, because I know I've got a son, and sometimes the things that he brings home, I can't even remember doing them when I was back in school. They just look so different. But our parents do need to get involved so they can also relearn for themselves the African way that Paseta will be teaching our children, so they can also re-establish that connection for themselves, because it is important for all of us to grow and move together. We don't want to leave people behind, and then we have the ones sitting there in the corner going, I don't know what this child is doing, why they're walking in the garden barefoot, because they don't understand that the child is grounding and getting energy from the soil that is recharging them from the inside. And we now have this thing where we even avoid playing outside because now the kids are busy on TV. So when your child is at Paseta, it will also allow you to take part in the new information that they'll be getting and bringing home. And you'll also be able to participate in it and grow with your child, because growing and learning never stops. We must never get to a point where you feel like you know everything, because that is a very dangerous place to be. We always need to be open to learning new things. And I think with this, what makes it more important is the fact that we'll be relearning our ways, relearning us. So it is definitely something where the whole family can get involved and take the journey with the child, because we are going to produce a different, more in touch, more awakened, even if the Paseta child doesn't decide to become a big scale farmer and they take a different route, but they'll have that vital information with them going forward, and they'll be able to pass it down to their children, and so on it will continue. So we are hoping to bring back that knowledge system the way that it was, and obviously incorporate new things that we have learned that are working for us, because there are things that we have learned in this current system that we are in that do work better than traditional things. So it's not all things that have been introduced that are poison and bad for us. There are some things that we can learn and integrate. But I think the important thing will be the fact that we will have reawakened the African soul. And that is definitely a journey that I think automatically we incorporate everybody that is around that child that is attending that school, because good energy is infectious.
Wow. Wow. Before we move to our last topic of on our agenda, I just want to acknowledge Kuana Thomas. Thank you for joining us, Kuana Thomas, watching live from Namibia. We are glad to have you here. I hope you are familiar with what Paseta is all about. If not, www.paseta.africa. All the information that you require, you'll find it there. Alternatively, you know where to find us here on YouTube. Do engage with our videos. Do engage with our videos. Our team usually brings you their gardens. They bring their gardens to your screens. You understand? They show you how they started them, so that you can see how simple, how engaging it is. You know what I mean? And please, to everyone who's joining us live, we would do an injustice if we do not remind you. If you haven't done so, please do donate as little as 50 Rand to Paseta, and we would definitely appreciate it so that we can actually build what we are talking about here today. Before we go to our final topic of discussion, which is the politics of the plate, I just want to say this. I want to say that whoever controls production controls people. Now, that's what I want us to take into this part of the discussion, where we are going to be talking about the politics of the plate. We have spoken about how some of the parts that we historically played, our women have historically played as seed saverers, if I can call them that. I like how that sounds. It rolls nicely on my tongue. As managers of nutrition in our households. You understand? Really, when we are talking about the politics of the plate, it is typically them. In fact, we have a saying in the township. We refer to our mothers. I will say that because your mother doesn't have to be specifically the one that gave birth to you. You understand? We would say to our mothers, we would refer to them as mapoto. Now, what that means, it means the person who's in charge of the pots. Of course, you don't want to say my pot or my garden. It's a long thing. We all know where food comes from. So my pot means anything that has to do with the plate and the food in the house. The first person you're going to ask is your mother. You understand? So let's talk about the politics of the plate. How is it important, or rather, how important is it that we need to take back our power of being connected with the soil? We need to take back our power of remembering that we know exactly how to plant. We are already self-sufficient. This is just a thing that is dormant in us, but we already are. Before we were colonized, we were already doing. It is just a matter of remembering. Let's talk about it a bit, sisters. What's your opinion on this issue of the politics of the plate?
Oh, it's a very interesting one, that one. I think it is beyond just, like I'm saying, as an African person, buying food is not actually something that is normal for us. And we now find ourselves in this situation where we have gotten used to buying food, and it's not necessarily the food that matches with us. A staple food that we have that I think everybody is familiar with is maize meal pap. I think every household has it. That's actually not our crop. It's a crop that was brought in from Mexico. And what we had instead of that was sorghum, mabele, which a lot of people have stepped away from and now prefer pap. But you'll see the difference in how it reacts to your stomach in terms of how your body metabolizes it and how it actually makes you feel fatigued, how the weight gain that comes with the consumption of pap. There are no real health benefits, and we've moved away from the high fiber, which is what we need. And so food doesn't only affect your body in terms of how your body looks, but it also affects you spiritually. So this concept of now having like with fruits, the reason I think one of the other reasons we have these GMO fruits is because the fruits last longer. You can have them all year round. But there's a reason that food is seasonal, because your body needs certain types of food during certain times of the year. And nature knows that. And that is why planting used to have a season. It wasn't a thing where you could have watermelon all year round. We knew there was a season where you'd ask the people who would still be in the rural areas to say, guys, please bring us mangoes when you come back to Joburg or whatever the situation might be, because you knew that food would be in season at that particular time. Just like mapani worms, they've got a season where they are available. So it interferes with not just the basic outer layer, but it interferes deeply, this eating the wrong food at the wrong time. And we are not aware of that because we've lost that connection. and that hinders a lot on us as a people. So that is one of the other very important things that Paseta will be teaching our children, to actually know what should be in season, what should I be eating to get ready for winter, so that I don't get sick in winter. Things like that, foods that will elevate your temperature so that the cold doesn't affect you as badly. Um, Food that cools you down in summer and keeps you hydrated. That is knowledge that the food actually links to you. And certain foods you can actually tell by how they look and how they are shaped, how that food will assist you. That's knowledge that will also come back to us. We'll actually be able to heal ourselves with our food instead of this chronic medication that everybody seems to be on. Everybody's taking a tablet for a headache, and then the tablet for your blocked nose, and then there's the tablet for your running stomach that is caused by the other tablet. It's just crazy, the system that we are on right now. And it can all be rectified by going back to the correct diet, going back to the correct food.
Wow. No, you know, with the issue of food that is seasonal food, we are quite aware. Like you made an example with mangoes. We know avocados. You never had an avocado throughout the year, and I think part of the reason for that is because we also import. You understand? We also import. Therefore, it means that at the time that when we are importing, it's the time where it's off season for us, and really we just want to eat an avocado at the time where our land is not really time for avocados at that time. But you know, convenience is going to be the death of us. Convenience is going to be the death of us, as far as all of us acting as though our land can't grow things. We have to import them. Of course, I'm not disregarding geopolitics. I understand the international markets and so forth. And I just want to also acknowledge Edna Mashele, who's watching all the way from Tula Mahash, that's in Mpumalanga. Tell me if I'm correct when I Edna Mashele, unless if there's another one. And thank you, Kauna Thomas, for sticking around. He's agreeing with what we are saying. I suppose he's talking about the us wanting to be always eating food, even though that food is particularly off season. That convenience is going to be the death of us. I just want to firstly thank everyone who has uh, sent us a comment there on the comment section. Everyone who has shaped how we are going to be moving forward, you know, with our Paseta Forum on a monthly basis. We just want to send you appreciation. We are always grateful that you've spent your time with us. I would just like to give our president, King said so, I would just like to give him a few moments for him to sort of bring us back, put us into a middle ground, you know, maybe in some shape, size, or form, sort of summarize what we have been talking about, and help us with the message that we are always. I know this message, King, I know this message is your daily routine, but whilst you are just giving us a little bit of how we can maneuver and so forth, a bit of your comment on how we've been going so far. Whilst you do that, please don't forget to remind them that we are asking them, these guys, they must help us with the donations. We are building a school, guys. We are building a school. King, over to you, my president. Let me see. You are. It seems like you are muted, my president.
Oh,
You
yes,
are
I am. I
muted, my
am.
president.
And I was flowing. I was flowing. I was going. Okay. My apologies. Okay. Let me. Okay. My apologies. My apologies, guys. You guys can hear me now. You can give me the thumbs up on the comment section if everyone can hear me. A thumbs up on the comment section so I can continue. My apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. As I wait for the thumbs up on the comment section so I can continue. There is a little bit of a delay on my side.
I
There
will
is a
take
little.
it here. I'll say thumbs up, thumbs up.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, we are good now. Sue says we are good now. I do have it loud and clear. Okay. Thank you so much, guys, for the beautiful life that you guys have. I'm very privileged, like I said, to be here in Paseta. We do understand in birthing this new seed. We understand the principle that Africans have always practiced the seed time and harvest season, and we know that it will take a lot of time for us to build what we are building. A lot of tears to build what we are building, and also a lot of victories that are going to be found in the way, as much as we are going to be getting resistant in all of that. So in Paseta, we strongly believe when we are talking about women, in Paseta, we believe that women in our society, they are made a by the way thing. You look at in politics, you look at in sports, you look at in places of power and influence and business. It's like women, they are setting them in to try to equalize the equation. And that is something that in Paseta we want to get rid of. We understand the value of women and we understand the power that women are carrying. If you go ahead and touch that topic of Vic, of auto, auto, autopologic and archaeological studies, you do understand that the studies of human and the studies of social science and the human behavior is the backbone of Paseta. That's exactly what we are trying to fix in Paseta. And I also want to touch also on the role of parents for the children that will be in Paseta. Our wish in Paseta is that the school fees has to be free. That is what we are envisioning, that the school has to be free if we get enough funding. But whether it's free or not, there's going to be a screening that is going to be done for the parents that are going to bring their children at school. There's a reason why Paseta is a boarding school. We are saying that this generation, our generation, or the generation that will be sending their children to Paseta, is a generation that is completely or almost completely colonized. So we must bring back their mindset. That is why we are not going to take this child early in the morning, 7:30, and 2 o'clock send the child back. We are keeping the child in the school because there's things that we need to indoctrinate them in a way, in a pattern of thinking for future leadership qualities. That is why it's a boarding school. We can't allow these children to learn something and then go home to parents that are going to unlearn them, or go home to an environment that is going to unlearn them the quality education that they will be getting in Paseta. It's very important to point that out. That Paseta, we want to bring the children. And when we send the child back, whether it's on school holidays or whether it's at the end of the year, the people in the society must realize and acknowledge that this child is from a different school. That is very important. They must understand with their reasoning capacity. They must understand with the way the child carries themselves, what the child speaks about, everything. But this child, there's something different about this child. And then they will get to understand, oh no, this is a Paseta child. We want one of those things. Because remember, in our township, when we grew up, we used to glamorize children coming from girls' high, boys' high, and St. Peterson, St. Bishop, whatever those schools are, because when they come with this swag as if they have earned something, or you can see that there's a type of a swag that they walk around with, distinguishing themselves from the children that go to public schools in our township. So in Paseta, we want to do that. We want to build future leaders. We don't want to play. We are not missing around that. So in that, the parents are going to be screened as well. The parents are going to be screened. So parents, if you are planning to bring your child to Paseta, make sure your social media and your ways of living is proper. We don't want to fight educating the child and also fight the system at home. We are going to be working hand in hand with the parents, and we want parents that are going to make it much easier for us to absorb their children in our schools. So that is very important to note there. It's not easy. It's not easy when you come and you bring and ask to say, let us donate, let us build for ourselves. The beautiful thing about Paseta is that we have already started. We are now 14 months old. We have already started. We have already started. Right now, we are close to securing money for the material. Only a few thousand rands left. By the end of this month, I think we'll go to the warehouse and buy our material for the building, and so that the building structure can start. So that is what is important. Africans, let's start. We have talked enough. We have done everything enough. Let us start doing something, because we have to, in Paseta, we say we have to leave a legacy that is going to outlive us. It's going to outlive our families, and people will remember that there were a group of crazy young people who stood up when nobody stood up. Nobody is doing what we are doing in Africa. I understand there's Pan-African schools in Kenya, in Uganda, Tanzania, but not in the model of what Paseta is trying to do. That's one thing that people must not confuse. Not in the model, in what Paseta is trying to do. So without talking too much, because I can talk the whole day, I'd like to thank the two hosts to say thank you so much for taking us through the topics that that you covered today, from the GMOs and everything. It's topics that we must continuously repeat, because people don't know. People don't know. Some of us, we have stopped eating pap. Like, no more pap anymore, because we African people, we are so proud of this food that makes us sick. As Sister Sue said, look at your grandparents now. Which grandparents does not have high blood? Which grandparents does not have sugar diabetes? Which grandparent does not have arthritis? If you look at all of those things, you are in Africa. We always said, you are what you eat. You are what you eat. So everything that we are eating is reflecting in our bodies. All of the young men are carrying big bellies. Why? It's the food that we eat. So yeah, let me stop there, Rabi. Now you must stop me when I talk, or otherwise we will be here for the next hour. But I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful. We are learning a lot from the two of you. Thank you so much for coming live on today's day. Have a blessed one, my Lord.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's our president of Paseta, King Hlungwane, who's in Jiva. Thank you so much. Before we really cut it short for this evening, at least, we'll pick it up next month. We would just like to remind you that for as much as August was Agriculture Month, we are now observing heritage and African awareness, because it is the African New Year this particular month. So we just want to acknowledge everyone who has joined us. We thank you so much for all of your contributions. Whilst I have Edna Mashele on the comment sections, she says, yes, you are right. Tula Mahash, Akon Hook, Mpumalanga, the rich province in fruit, vegetables, farming, farming year throughout, right? My wish is one of your school to be built here. So really Edna is saying that she hopes that one of the Paseta branches is that we will have it at Mpumalanga. It would be such an honor to have a Paseta campus not too far from Inzalo Elanga. It would be ordained in the stars. Thank you for your contribution, Edna Mashele. I would like to give Sister Sue a moment to perhaps give us her parting words before we let everyone go. We have been together since, say, about 5:30. I'd like to let everyone, go back to their kitchens. You've been here with us. You probably want to go make sure that the politics of the plate are sorted out in your household. Sister Sue.
Thank you, Brother Rabi. Yeah, I'm hoping that the conversation was engaging and interesting for everyone that did join us for it. And thank you so much for that. And I think the one important thing that we should take away from it is the fact that we need to stand together as a people and assist each other in building the school for our future generation. And like our President King mentioned, that we need to leave a legacy that will live beyond us because we will not be here forever. And we need to make sure that the children that we leave behind have got something sustainable in their hands that will allow them to go forward as a stronger nation. They need to be stronger than what we are. And that's why we need to dig in right now and do the groundwork. So our people need to act. Let's donate. Let's support Paseta. Let's make the dream happen for our future generation. So that when our kids look back, they can be like, you know what, my parent, my mom, my cousin was part of that initiative. They helped to make that dream happen for me, to secure this future for me. So let's not sit back and watch things happen in our lives. Participate, take part, stand for something. And I think that's all I'm going to say for today. Thank you so much, Rabi. I enjoyed the session with you.
Thank you so much, Sister Sue. Pleasure doing this live with you. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for joining us on the first ever Paseta Forum. Please do join us. We will be doing this every single month. We will keep you updated. Please consider Paseta Forum as a place where you will get feedback on what is the latest relating to Paseta, as well as a space for us to share ideas for a self-reliant African child. Thank you so much. Na kalibitso ke mateadi Rabi wa ga serumula sa mollo kota malalaiswa bantse bang bare Rabi wrote. This was the first Paseta Forum. Have a lovely evening.